All right, we're back with another range talk this week, and we're going to the course, and we're getting our director of agronomy, Ben Holmes, and we're going to ask him some questions that y'all been coming up and asking me for the past couple of months. Our first question for Ben Holmes is going to be about the Ravines greens. Many members have been curious about the conditions of Ravines greens. Can you share what's currently being done to improve and maintain them?
Yeah, so we're looking a little bit at what we're doing growth regulator wise, backing off, trying to let you know that grass grow back in from some disease issues, things like that. But we did a lot last year with cutting trees down, allowing more wind movement, less shade, things like that. And then next week we've got a guy coming out who's gonna put a camera in the drains underneath the greens and tell us if there's any issues under there too, to kind of help us keep them as healthy as we can.
I like that. Very informative. Better information than I could have gave you. That's why we came to the source. The next question is fairway conditions. The fairways have been looking incredible lately. Thick, lush, healthy. What specific practices or treatments are contributing to that improvement?
Well, the one thing, and this was kind of something I wanted to kind of hammer home with our staff and mechanic when I got here, was cut quality. It's all about cut quality for sure, keeping the reels sharp, the bed knives changed out. But the other thing too, we did some soil tests back in the spring. We're in the middle of the pine belt, piney woods, things like that. So the pH is a little low. So we just did lime, and getting the pH up a little bit higher unlocks a lot more nutrient availability to the plant, and so that's better than some fertilizer I could put out there for sure. So
All right. Well, to answer your questions, it's lime. He's throwing lime down, getting the fairways nice and thick and lush, getting the pH level up. And the next one is army worm control. Some members have spotted, some army worms out on the course in recent weeks. What steps did the team take to address and eliminate that problem?
yeah, so army worms, they'll lay eggs pretty much most of the summertime, and especially after a rain event like we had last week, they'll hatch and they'll go to town. And so that's really just going out with a contact insecticide and just kind of knocking them out when you see them. We've got a pretty good system to where we can cover a lot of ground very quickly. So last weekend, myself and my assistant Candy, we were able to go out and get those sprayed and everything like that. So ravines didn't get hit like hills and lakes did. We did a systemic insecticide back in the spring that has full season coverage of against things like that. So we're going to look at doing that for next year on all 9 courses.
Perfect. So what I'm hearing is we found some preventative measures that worked, and we're going to keep that trend moving forward. And there was a little bit of armyworms that popped up. We were able to eliminate it really quickly. Next question is ladies' tee boxes on Ravine 7. There's been some interest in adjusting the ladies' tees placements on that hole. Is there something we can start implementing? And I know we talked about this last time where it has to be rated, kind of close to the same yardage. So me and Ben went out there and he's going to tell you a little bit about how we'll be able to utilize those tee boxes moving forward.
Yeah, because we looked at it, especially what is rated for the scorecard, yardage wise, things like that. Between the 4 tee boxes, with 3 of them, they're pretty similar. I mean, within 5% yardage wise. I think one of those tees, the one all the way on the left side, we'll have to cut some trees down to be able to use that one, just because it blocks about half the view of the green, so you can't really get a good shot at it. The one on the far right, it's about 30 yards shorter. That would be one that we would kind of have to look at maybe doing something special event or whatever, but we've kind of avoided that one as well. We've identified some irrigation issues where we lost a head somewhere, and we're trying to find it. But until we get that found, it stays kind of dry, so we're kind of iffy about opening it up, getting a lot of traffic on it, and beating it down, because then we might not be able to get it back.
All right, yeah, no, me and Ben went out there. As you heard, we talked about it, took a look, and saw, a plan that we could do moving forward. So you should see, when we find that head, get, that irrigation working on there, we'll try to utilize that. But we'll be moving that around on some of those tee boxes moving forward. And to finalize our last question here, course projects. What current projects are underway on the courses, and what upcoming improvements can members look forward to?
Yeah, the big thing, and my plan is to try to make it through 9 holes each year. We started on the hills 9 this summer, and we're just working on trees, canopies, opening up those canopies to allow for better light penetration, better air movement. In some instances, those lower hanging branches are affecting our irrigation coverage, things like that. So that'll, improve turf quality everywhere as we go forward. And then also we've been doing some irrigation audits, going through the system, finding out, as we identify hot spots and things like that, figuring out, are the heads not turning the way they need to? Are they in the computer running too much, not enough, things like that. So we're slowly trying to get everything dialed in to where it's green, not too dry, but also not too wet that it's unplayable.
Well, that's awesome. I wanted to get Ben out here because he's been doing a fantastic job. Wanted y'all to kind of see Ben, know his face if you haven't met him before. I just want to say thank you for how the
Yeah,
course looks out here.
yeah.
That's this episode of Range Talk this week, and we look forward to seeing you next week.